Match 26, Gyaos vs. Biollante. Gyaos, Heisei vs. Biollante, not bad. By Thomas Singleton. Dabbles of sunlight bathed the wondrous forest. Acres of trees towered over the soil, using photosynthesis to absorb the energies of the sun. Rivers of water flowed freely between their roots. A strange odor permeated the damp landscape. It reeked of decay, sapping the rainforest of its natural smell. Recently, an unwanted organism arrived during the darkest hours of the night. Its hunger urged to consume the local creatures. Nothing was spared from its insatiable appetite, but its reign of terror was postponed by the rising sun. As the darkness retreated to the far corners of the globe, the shadow of evil took refuge. Flora concealed its nocturnal visage. Blood-red scales laced its filthy body. Leathery wings stretched out of its sides. Its sharp talons were submerged in water. Not even a school of hungry piranha would dare nibble at it. Its demented cranium was shaped like the tip of an arrow. Serrated teeth lurked within its closed maw. Until sunset, the Gyaos would slumber. Unbeknownst to the Gyaos, the rainforest it had invaded harbored a monstrous entity. It had been years since its spores seeded this tropical paradise. Buried beneath the foliage, an orange radiance pulsated from a round object. To the untrained eye, the object was but a mere brain. In the early days of its creation, Godzilla's cells were combined with that of a plant. A scientist, driven by the death of his daughter, sought to create an immortal organism. Only he did not expect his daughter's spirit to inhabit its core. After a vicious battle with Godzilla, the creature took refuge beyond the reach of the sky. It observed the planet from its spatial habitat, questioning its artificial existence. After a decade, it left the stratosphere, seeking eternal rest in a suitable environment, and yet the human spirit never abandoned it. But now the arrival of the Gyaos stirred Biollante from her slumber. A vibration unsettled the ground. The flowing water recoiled from the subterranean activity. Trees swayed back and forth, sustained only by their roots. The tremors awakened the Gyaos from its nefarious dreams. Its insipid mind was unable to comprehend the situation. As its eyelids pulled to reveal its crimson eyes, the Gyaos stared at the trembling ground. Its delayed senses alerted it of the immediate danger. Determined to avoid catastrophe, the Gyaos vigorously flapped its leathery wings. Strong gusts of winds flattened the nearby trees, propelling the putrid creature into the air. But vines shot out of the ground and entangled the Gyaos' ankle. Not even the Gyaos could break free from its tight grip. Pass.
The shrieking Gyaos expressed its aggravation. Its wings continued to flap, granting it the stability it needed to remain aloft. Particles of light and sonic vibrations enriched the Gyaos' exposed mouth. In the bowels of its gruesome throat, the Gyaos mixed the foreign elements together and unleashed a sonic beam. It instantly sliced the beam and carved a deep hole in the ground. The silver vine slithered back beneath the soil. Gyaos, however, hovered above the forest, fearing its safety. Suddenly, a large entity sprung from the soil. Mounds of dirt and trees tumbled off its rigid shape. Gallons of water dribbled off its soggy flesh. Gyaos' dark heart flustered as it observed its new adversary. Biollante's mammoth jaws widened, exerting a chaotic cry. Layers of emerald flesh coated the behemoth. Green residue leaked from Biollante's elongated snout. Her feet, barely distinguishable beneath her massive figure, remained buried in the soil. Long muscular tentacles lingered out of her upper body. As the tentacles swayed back and forth, several underwent a transformation. Frightening mandibles bulged out of the tentacle's tip. Gyaos watched on as a chorus of shrieks emanated from the beastly tentacles. Infused to Biollante's abdomen was her core. The source of Biollante's life force crackled with energy. The energy coursed through Biollante's boiling veins, preparing her for battle. Biollante widened her jaws, emitting a low, ominous howl. Gyaos glanced into her mouth, spotting hundreds of serrated teeth huddled on her upper and lower jaws. An emerald residue secreted out of her maw, melting the trees below. It touched a small body of water, effectively evaporating it in thin air.
Wrong
Biollante peered at...
but oh well.
Oh, yeah, wow, yeah. Yeah. That's me minus 10 points for the score of this one. The Swedish judge may take another minus 11. Any case, Biollante peered at the hovering Gyaos. The human spirit within connected with the Gyaos' dark conscience, deciphering its shrouded past. Eons ago, an advanced civilization sought to create the perfect organism. Their scientists succeeded in creating an organism that had only one chromosome, but their perfect creation became the ideal killing machine. It did not need a male... just going back real quick, just because it's one chromosome doesn't mean it's perfect. Creatures from varying sizes have plenty. It's just DNA. It's just random.
Yeah.
Any case, it did not need a mate to reproduce others like itself. In the duration of only a few months, an ancient civilization, whose technological advancements dwarfed that of its present-day descendants, was erased overnight. A defender was created for the sole purpose of eradicating the Gyaos and other vile creatures like it, but its existence came too late. Over the years, the Gyaos' cannibalistic tendencies wrought the near extinction of their species, but the declining mana of the earth eventually resurrected the plight of creation. Thorny tendrils slithered out of the ground, instructed to seize the Gyaos. Gyaos perceived Biollante's actions and utilized its superior maneuverability. Like an insect avoiding a fly swatter, Gyaos outmaneuvered the thorny tendrils and retaliated. A sonic beam projected out of Gyaos' mouth, quickly shredding the tentacles. As the burning blood of the tendrils scalded the forest, Gyaos moved to strike their controller. Biollante howled in contempt, forbidding the Gyaos' advance, but the Gyaos defied Biollante by sending its sonic beam straight into her core. Biollante wailed in pain as the sonic cutter punctured her body, shredding the core that kept her alive. Gyaos curved its head up, moving its sonic beam up Biollante's figure. The sonic beam sliced a deep trail up Biollante's frontal arc. Green blood seeped out of Biollante's wounds, but her cellular makeup instantly regenerated the damage. Gyaos shrieked in frustration. The failure of its attack left it at a disadvantage. Gyaos flapped her wings and swiftly flew above the green earth, moving away from Biollante's thrall. But Biollante yearned for Gyaos' oblivion. Upon her command, dozens of tentacles ruptured the moist soil. They scourged the air, searching for the Gyaos. Gyaos flew hundreds of feet above the trees, yet the tendrils reached her airspace. The tendrils harpooned their sharp edges into Gyaos' flesh. It easily punctured the Gyaos' meaty exterior, forcing its raw blood to escape its festering veins. But the was persistent in escaping. It fought the pain that racked it so and brought free of it the tendrils' clutches, sacrificing chunks of its flesh in the process. Gyaos swerved around, unleashing its vile sonic beam. But the Gyaos' tool of destruction slashed only the trees. The tendrils had returned to the depths of the earth. Anger clouded the Gyaos' determined mind, urging it to ignore the branches of its foe. Pass.
Biollante's
protect the base.
Oh yeah. I was about to say you kind of missed out one part, but Biollante's inhuman eyes predicted Gyaos' intentions. Dozens of tendrils were stationed beneath every inch of a 500-meter radius. Wow. Her tentacles, each possessing a mandible of their own, cautiously hid among the foliage. Biollante patiently waited for her disgusting foe. Her wait was not long. Gyaos swooped down from the sky and pulled up, granting her the chance to clamp her talons upon Biollante's monstrous jaws. Yeah, I guess Gyaos would be female, wouldn't they?
I mean, they're all born female, aren't they? So
yeah, they're all born female. I just forget that. Gyaos' talons clenched to Biollante's outer tusk, avoiding her mouth. Biollante tried to shake the Gyaos loose by wobbling her head, but the foul reptile could not be deterred. As a result, Biollante summoned her tentacles. The tentacles slashed the air, hurtling their mandibles into Gyaos' flesh. Her spear-like tendrils crucified the Gyaos' backside. Ow. Rupturing its layers of flesh and muscle with the utmost ease. Yet the penetration rendered Biollante's tendrils, causing its acidic blood to blemish Gyaos' internal arteries. Ugh. Good glory. Painful screeches departed the Gyaos' racked frame. As the tentacles bit the Gyaos harder, acid spewed out of their gruesome mouths, dissolving Gyaos' putrid flesh. Smoke sizzled out of Gyaos' wounded pores, polluting the air. Unnerved by the horrible smell, Biollante lurched forward and rammed her attacker into the ground. The combined efforts of gravity and Biollante's colossal figure knocked the wind out of the Gyaos' lungs. Its sternum had been compromised by Biollante's bulk, yet the snarling creature still writhed with life. Gyaos desperately extinguished its sonic beam, immediately chopping Biollante's attacking vines. Seeking recuperation, the tentacles returned to the bowels of the earth. Biollante widened her maw, pledging her desire to swallow Gyaos whole. But the Gyaos carefully gripped Biollante's tusk, enabling it to lift its body up and avoid a horrible fate. Without her vines to protect her, Biollante was forced to lift her massive head off the ground. Gyaos kept her talons attached to Biollante's tusk. Biollante's echoing roar informed Gyaos that the massive beast was attempting the same strategy as before. Biollante prepared to dive her face into the ground, hoping to rid herself of the disgusting hitchhiker. But the Gyaos quickly shredded Biollante's head with its sonic beams. Biollante's flesh was thick enough to withstand conventional weaponry, yet Gyaos' primary weapon pierced it as if it was tissue paper. As if it were tissue paper. As a testament of Gyaos' terrifying attack, gouts of blood gurgled out Biollante's wounded head. Biollante's howling cries made even the trees shudder. In retaliation, a lone tendril bolted out of the Gyaos' backside and emerged out of its chest. Biollante's single tendril had pierced the Gyaos' body.
Somewhere, someone is laughing at that comment. Someone is laughing at the backside.
Yes, someone is laughing at that. If you've if you've listened to the past videos, if this happens to be your first one, you'll know why. Gyaos' sonic beams disappeared. Its pain prevented it from shrieking in distress. Biollante took advantage of her foe's state of shock by having her tendril tug the Gyaos off her face. A swarm of thorny vines emerged from the earth, ensnaring the wounded Gyaos. The Gyaos tried fighting their crushing embrace, but it could not. Gyaos' eyes literally bulged out of their sockets, oozing with pus. Realizing her foe could not escape, emerald energies pulsated out of her core, focusing on Biollante's throat. Biollante doused the immobilized Gyaos with a plume of green acid. Gyaos squirmed beneath its scalding exterior, incapable of preventing the inevitable. The acid had instantaneously devoured Gyaos' outer flesh. It only took several seconds for its muscles to fade away in a pool corrosion. The Gyaos' skeleton was all that remained. Victorious, Biollante unraveled her vines, leaving the skeletal carcass to bake in the sun. Sensing that there were other evil creatures in the world, Biollante dissolved into billions of glowing spores. As the spores ascended into the heavens, the spiritual essence of a woman's face faintly materialized, signifying her immortal quest for peace and the sanctity of the planet. Winner, Biollante.
Yeah, no surprise on that one for this match.
Yeah,
it's one of the ones where, again, it's one-sided. It's not one-sided because both monsters are powerful. It's one-sided based on, I think, the fact that one only had, like, both are powerful in their own right, but faced against each other, Biollante just has one thing that the Gyaos can't counter, which is the super regeneration.
Right. The super regeneration. Gyaos has a really good beam weapon, which I think, while it can't penetrate everything like witnessed in Gamera 3, like that sonic beam that just deflects off of Gamera in that movie, but Gyaos' sonic beam weapon is, surprisingly effective against a lot of things. But yeah, you'd be right in saying that the one thing that probably allowed Biollante to survive all those attacks was the regeneration. So no matter how you would have looked at it, alone Gyaos wouldn't have been able to slay Biollante. Maybe
Yeah,
if it were like a a horde or a swarm or a fleet of some kind, maybe Gyaos could have prevailed, but as it's only one, there's no way it could have stood a chance.
yeah. Violent or Gauss is meant to, like, for piercing damage. Like, it's supposed to be the thing. Like, I think like to get around the enemy's armor, get around, like, hit something vital. But Biollante, you can't hit anything vital because even if you do, it's like, well, fixed, because like her whole backside got blown apart by Godzilla, and it was like, oh yeah, that slowed her down. Like, it didn't stop her.
Like her head was like Godzilla shot a beam down her like in the mouth and exploded like her cranium or whatever, but she was able to survive that. So yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise, again, I like the idea of Violante, horse battle.
I actually kind of like the banner for this one. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just that perfect sense of graininess to the image that makes both Gyaos and Biollante kind of look like they're in the same. I don't know. There's just
Shot?
In the same shot. Yeah. I don't know. There's just something about this that always stuck out to me as probably one of my personal favorite early banners. Not sure what it is. I just really like the banner for this one.
Yeah, and again, I just want to make note that this is actually the second all-female KWC that we have. First one going to Legion versus Mega Gears. So, equality in the KWC is gradually coming along. I just want to make note. So,
right. Yeah, that's actually...
Don't have to worry about that one.
Right. That's actually... With so few female kaiju, it's always nice to have the occasional match where it's like, roundabout of all female kaiju. Granted, in the grand scheme of things, gender doesn't objectively matter, but it's always just kind of nice to know that, sometimes having a femme fatale brawl amongst each other, it's always nice to see, proving that female kaiju are, can be savage and badass. So they're, just as deadly, if not more so, than the male kaiju.
Yeah. Okay, and again, it's just rare. I mean, it's just, again, that just happens. But in any case, it was just like a fun little note I thought of.
Right. So
that's actually why I ended it where it was. I actually backed out. I was like, oh no, I lost my mark. Pass.
Right. So that was Gyaos versus Biollante. We will see you guys in match 27. Until then.
See you guys next time.